Hey guys, what's up? It's Jasmine. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I edit my Instagram photos. This was recently requested by one of my followers, and I honestly don't know why anyone would ever want to see how it is that I edit, because none of my edits are like really ever the same. The reason behind that is because I feel like all of my pictures are different, all the colors are different, locations, etc. So I don't necessarily want to keep to a theme and limit myself and my creative capabilities. I will say I am having kind of like a moodier tone, I would say, I guess, warmer, earthier tones, I would say, to my Instagram photos at the moment. So maybe that's my theme. We'll just kind of call this my fall Instagram theme. How I do it, that's a work in process, that title. I used to edit on VSCO cam, or VSCO, whatever you want to call it. I used to edit all of my photos on there, and then I would also go into Facetune, but I noticed that by going through those different apps, it seemed like my photos would really decrease in quality and they wouldn't be as sharp as they are when I edit through Lightroom and also Photoshop. Sometimes it really just kind of depends. So I actually have a place that I buy like all of my presets, and I found it through Instagram. So I honestly don't remember how I found this preset pack, but it's an orange and teal inspired preset pack, which was super huge like the past summer, I believe. Like everyone wanted orange and teal everything, and honestly it creates such a nice like adventurous kind of tone. So if that's kind of the looks that you want to go for, I definitely recommend this pack because it was the first one that I found, and it is by a guy named Jake based out of Louisiana. So if you guys don't know who Jake is, he actually has a presets page, which is how I found him. We met through Instagram and now we're pretty good friends. I approached him and was like letting him know that I absolutely love his presets. They're amazing and they're very inspiring. Every time he releases one, I just want to go out and take pictures and test out all of his presets. And he actually ended up deciding to start making the presets that he releases free, and that's for people like myself and for those of you that, you know, maybe you don't have the money to buy presets, or you're not sure where to start, or maybe you're new to Lightroom and you're kind of testing out a few things. Presets are a really awesome way to do that, and since he's releasing them for free, you can totally go out and just shoot as much as you want and then go into Lightroom and process all of your photos with his presets and just kind of get a feel for what it is that you like and what you don't like. He does have 3 or 4 preset packs that do cost money. I was like, please don't ever make these free, because he honestly deserves any profit that he makes off of those, because they are seriously so amazing. I've bought all of them. They're seriously just amazing. Since I don't really have a theme or a routine that I stick to, there are a few things that I always do in all of my photos, so I'll go ahead and tell you those before I get into the editing process. So I always will remove these, or I'll try to always remove. There's a few where they're still there, but I will always remove this like constellation of freckles on my face because I just hate them. Like they're dark and I just don't want them there, so I'll remove them. Like I honestly don't care. I wouldn't share it like if I cared, but I don't. Like you guys can probably go through and find which ones I have and haven't edit. Like I don't care. I just don't like them, so I remove them. And I also have like this bump on my face that's been there for like all my life, and I remove it because it looks like a pimple, and I always remove like any blemishes it is that I have. As for the actual like editing, like toying around with like lighting and stuff like that, I will typically always bring up the shadows. I usually will underexpose a photo before overexposing it, and that's a huge thing that a lot of people do, is just really overexposing a photo, and I'm super guilty of doing this. I think all of my photos of my earlier years were so overexposed, like I didn't have a nose, and I just loved that look for whatever reason. But now I underexpose because it's easier to bring up those colors as opposed to bring them down. So I will typically always bring up my shadows, bring down my whites just a little bit, bring down my highlights quite a bit. If there is too much like shiny, like glowiness going on, I will bring that down to whatever looks right. And I typically will either bring the blacks up just a little bit if the photo is too dark, or I'll bring them down just to add a little bit more contrast to the photo. The last things that I typically will touch are contrast and exposure. That's what I typically will keep constant in every single one of my photos, and then I'll toy around with all the different presets that Jake has. So I'll leave a link to all of those down below so you can go and check those out, and definitely make sure to give him a follow as well as me. All of my social medias are always linked down below. Okay, so now we can finally go ahead and jump right into the editing part. I am not going to do a voiceover for this, I don't think, because I don't have a mic. I don't have a mic yet. So starting out with this photo, I went in with Jake's Orange and Teal presets. Number 1, negative contrast. Then I went in and started playing around with the hues, and then I ended up going back up to tones, bringing up those shadows, down the whites, and I actually brought down the blacks in this photo just a little bit for a little bit more contrast. Then I went back down to the hues and saturations and luminance and started toggling around with those different options. I like to kind of see what looks best for the photos, and I don't really have a process with this. I do like to bring down the oranges just a little bit because the oranges are typically your skin tone. So by bringing those down, it can make you look pretty tan. And then, so my face isn't too dark, I usually will bring that red up, which adds a little bit more of a highlight to my face. Then I started toying around a little bit more with the tones before I went in and edited out those constellations that I told you guys about. It's just a super quick fix. And that's the finished photo. Moving on to this next photo, Clark and I actually stumbled upon this area. It had a really cool, like, giant window, and so I got some really nice natural light. So this photo, I want to have a lot of browns but also really vivid colors, so I just kind of tested around with a lot of Jake's presets and then ended up going back into the orange and teal. Like I said, that one's probably my most favorite, and I ended up going in with the orange and teal dark. Then I started messing around with the tones, bringing up the blacks, up the shadows, and I touched the whites just a little bit, but not too much. And as you can see, I just kind of toggle around with all of the different options and seeing what really works for the photo. As you can see, I brought up the clarity, and then I go into all of those hues, saturations, and luminance and start playing around with those to bring down a lot of those tones. As you can see, I brought down that orange to make myself a little bit more tan, but also not so bright, and that's also really awesome if you don't want to bring down any of the highlights or the whites. And if you look closely, you can see I touched a little bit on the blues in my bra, and then I touched up that little spot under my eye, and so that was it. So I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely go check out Jake as well as my Instagram, and I hope that you guys will go and get his presets because they're amazing. And he's also coming out with a t-shirt line really soon, and he's going to be sending me one, so you guys better go check out his Instagram so you guys can see when those are released because they're so cute, and I'm excited to pair them with like some Levi's, and like I'm getting way off track, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!